Tzu Chi volunteers in South Africa hold winter aid distributions in Watersmeet and Driefontein, benefiting 900 families. Students from Tzu Chi University led younger students to learn about their local culture and cherishing their resources. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Siri Su. Thank you for joining us. On May 27, Tzu Chi volunteers in South Africa held winter aid distributions at both Watersmeet and Driefontein, benefiting a total of 900 families. Since the volunteers also paid regular visits to care recipients in these two communities, the residents actively took part in the winter aid distributions.
Singing Buddhist songs they composed, people of Watersmeet line up orderly to receive winter supplies. Each of the 600 families received 1 bag of rice weighing 10 kilograms, 1 clothes detergent, and 1 children's sweater.
So you mean this rice is going to help you?
Yes.
Tzu Chi volunteers will distribute 140 metric tons of rice in winter distributions this year, and they have started doing it since mid-May. The one in Watersmeet is the 5th one. And before the distribution, the volunteers have come to evaluate their conditions. Most residents are lonely elderly, AIDS patients, and orphans. While there is a large crowd, doctors from AIDS Prevention Unit also come to promote AIDS awareness.
Thank you very much, Tzu Chi Foundation, for giving us this opportunity to be part of you and for coming into our areas and help our communities.
People in the Zulu tribes are poor, but the volunteers still promote the concept that small amount of money is able to do great deeds.
It's your opportunity to helping others, no matter how much. Yeah, just spreading your love for the people. This money you donate is going to helping the local peoples.
The other distribution is being held in Driefontein on the same day. Less people live here, so every family receives 2 bags of rice, weighing 20 kilograms in total. Volunteers give them the rice with both hands. These bags of rice from Taiwan can temporarily relieve these people of their financial difficulties so they can get through the cold winter.
Since 2015, Tzu Chi Indonesia chapter has started to assist an elderly couple. Besides providing them with subsidies, volunteers also pay them regular visits. Recently, Tzu Chi volunteers found out this couple are not able to take care of their house, causing their environment to be cluttered and unsanitary. To restore a comfortable living environment for them, volunteers mobilized to help clean their home.
In this small room lives 90-year-old Lemon and his 67-year-old wife. After they became Tzu Chi care recipients in 2015, volunteers found that this elderly couple is unable to take care of their house.
This house is not suitable for them to live because there's a dam under the house. We made a new bed for them so they won't collapse easily. We also help them clean the environment to make the air in the house fresher.
Biar lebih fresh gitu ruangannya.
Volunteers clear out each item that should be discarded and clean those that can be kept to use. In addition, they also beg the senior and trim his hair. This neighbor, who also came to help, suddenly burst into tears.
Ya, itu seingat semasa papa saya.
At that time, I thought of my dad because my dad's life in his later years is just like his. Since Grandpa Lehman has mobility issues, my wife and I come to look after him every day in case there should be an emergency. Our home is very close to their home.
Thank you for helping me clean my home. I'm also grateful for God's blessing during this period of time.
Although this couple cannot move to a better place in real life, they can at least live a frugal and quiet life to maintain good health. This is the most sincere blessing from Tzu Chi volunteers and this couple's neighbors.
Also in Indonesia, a community located in North Jakarta recently experienced a fire, affecting 65 houses and leaving 200 people homeless. After the fire, Tzu Chi volunteers prepared daily necessities and second-hand clothing for distribution. In the meantime, Tzu Chi volunteers also prepared gifts for Eid al-Fitr, hoping to cheer up the affected residents.
Muslaya did not expect a fire before Eid al-Fitr. Her home was devastated and she now feels helpless.
I only brought my IDs out when I escaped from the house. The remaining items in the house are all burned. My children's classroom stationery and uniforms are gone. I hope that the government or a charity group can help us.
The fire happened in North Jakarta's Tugu Selatan. The fire is suspected to be started by firecrackers, which caused the fuel tanker to explode. The fire burned rapidly, and within an hour, 65 houses were burned to the ground.
In this community, most houses are built with wood, and each house is connected to another. Therefore, if a fire broke out, the fire would spread very fast.
The fire was horrifying that day. I only remember holding on to my children as we escaped. While escaping, I grabbed onto anything I could. Even my pants ripped. Everything is lost.
200 homeless residents are temporarily sheltered in a special tent area erected by the government. The community leader provides hot food, while the Tzu Chi volunteers provide daily commodities along with Eid al-Fitr gifts.
In few more days, it will be the Muslim Eid al-Fitr. I am very sad that a fire would occur before this festival. The residents are hopeless and scared. Therefore, we not only brought them daily essentials, but Eid al-Fitr gifts. I hope that this would lessen their burdens.
The fire dampened the spirits of these residents, who would otherwise be celebrating this important holiday. Tzu Chi volunteers understood their plight and provided resources and gifts. Despite the adversity these fire survivors face, Tzu Chi volunteers pledged to support during these difficult times.
Turning our focus to Haiti, Tzu Chi volunteers have been distributing rice in Port-au-Prince as well as Jeremy as part of their charity work. To prepare for a future supply distribution in Jeremy, the volunteers recently had to transport large quantity of rice and shoes from Port-au-Prince to Jeremy. Thanks to the help of the firm OECC, volunteers from the United States were able to accomplish this mission successfully. For 7 consecutive years, rice from Taiwan has been delivered to Haiti for the needy.
Before we depart, we check our container trucks. First of all, we have to make sure that the original seals are still intact. Inside the container truck is 2,000 bags of rice.
7,500 bags of rice and 1,900 pairs of shoes are carried by the 4 container trucks and 1 truck. With the help of OECC, they're ready to depart.
OECC has given us support in many different ways. They take care of our food and transportation. Of course, we've known each other for almost 9 years now.
It takes the fleet of trucks 7 hours to go from Port-au-Prince to Jeremy, near the sea. Out of safety concern, they did not take any breaks along the way. They do the handover outside a police station and store the supplies in a World Food Program storage. In Taiwan, Tzu Chi volunteers recently went to Taoyuan Municipal Happy Elementary School to teach children how precious water is. Meanwhile, students from Tzu Chi University also led some younger students to visit Hualien's Fuyuan community to learn about its history and culture. Accompanied by university students, students from Tzu Chi Senior High School and Fuyuan Junior High School are having a community cultural tour. Through playing games, they get to learn about history and culture of Fuyuan community.
顾名思义，它是供奉什么爷？城隍爷。对，很聪明。
At Sea Love, a group of students from Tzu Chi University have started cultural exchange programs with students in Sichuan, China since 2010. This year, upon returning to Taiwan, they've come to Fuyuan community to learn through volunteering.
This is to let them know that they can grow and learn together. This is also a future educational goal known as seeking the common good.
Besides having a tour, everyone also tries to dye fabrics with Hakka style. Then they also compete with each other while playing drums. Meanwhile, in Taoyuan, Tzu Chi volunteers have come to an elementary school to teach children about how precious water is in our daily life.
After washing our hands, we can use the remaining water for flowers and plants. We can also reuse the water we use to wash vegetables.
Small amounts of water is still quite heavy. Such small amounts of water is not enough for us to use. So they've realized it is really important to cherish our water.
The school has also set up a rainwater tank, which saves water that will later be used to fill biological pond, especially during dry season.
The rainwater tanks must be placed at lower places. This way, the rainwater will flow down from the pipes and the collected water can be reused.
The students not only cherish water at school, they've also learned to cherish resources at home. Tzu Chi volunteers from 31 countries traveled to Taiwan for the 2017 Tzu Chi 41 Camp for Team Leaders. In order for camp attendees who do not speak Chinese understand the classes, translation volunteers play an important role. Let's take a look at how they use their language abilities to help the camp attendees.
Concepts in their consciousness.
The translation volunteer stands on the balcony, listens to the lecturer speaking, and also observes the students' reactions. Then she must immediately translate the language.
We translate the master's teachings so these volunteers can apply them in their communities and share them with local people. Thus, these communities can become more harmonious.
Volunteers from 31 countries are in Taiwan for the 2017 4-in-1 Camp for Team Leaders. Over 10 translators are also there to translate for them. 73-year-old Wu Mia-ten is from Myanmar. He studied Chinese by himself and hopes to inspire Myanmar volunteers to be diligent.
I hope every young person will understand Buddhism better and comprehend Tzu Chi's ideologies better.
Cai Xiaohuan was born in Vietnam, but she can speak Chinese ever since she was little and understand Taiwanese too. This time, 3 people are there to translate Vietnamese, and they are also involved in the classes, so they have learned much.
Each class isn't very long or short, so if there were only 1 or 2 translators, it would be a burden to our translation volunteers, so we work together as a team.
Although they speak different languages, they are spreading the same great love, so there's no true difference among them. These volunteers will bring home what they learn and carry it out.
A 3-day camp event for Tzu Chi was recently held at the Jingsi Hall in the Philippines. By attending this event, the participants not only learned etiquette in their daily life, but also cultivated their compassion. Some of the camp attendees said that joining the camp has given them more confidence and hope that they can change the world.
On the first day of the Tzu Chi camp, many camp participants did not realize the purpose of this event until they saw senior Tzu Chis put on a performance, making them burst into laughter. This is 18th Tzu Chi camp held in the Philippines. During the 3-day camp, these youngsters have no parents or caregivers to take care of them. They have to be independent and do everything by themselves. They also learn about Tzu Chi and break the stereotype of Buddhist chanting after listening to the volunteers who used to be Tzu Chins share their past experiences. They were surprised to learn that they can change one person, one family, or even a city.
Also, through this camp, I realized the essence of time, love, and patience. And at the same time, it made me and even my other fellow campers how to be confident and how to have faith and hope in ourselves, and that we could make a change in this world.
Different from the first day, which was filled with confusion, these youngsters now act with more vitality. At this educational recycling station, they witness how to turn recyclables into useful items.
Aside from learning the teachings and practices of Tzu Chi Buddhism, you also learn to get along well with others and learn about the environment and be aware about the people around you.
On the third day, when they are saying farewell, each one of them puts on the Tzu Chi uniform. Now they have the same direction in their life, which makes their life more colorful and meaningful.
In Taiwan, Hualien Yuli Junior High School was one of the schools undergoing disaster reduction reconstruction by Tzu Chi Foundation. The school's Student Activity Center was more than 30 years old, so it could not withstand strong earthquakes. Then in 2016, Tzu Chi Foundation came to rebuild it. The construction has been completed in June of this year, and the activity center was used for the school graduation ceremony.
The song represents the sad feeling of farewell of these graduates. The new activity center opens the eyes of students and teachers.
We're the first graduates to use this new auditorium, so we're excited and curious about it. It makes us feel very comfortable.
The old auditorium was too dangerous to be used, so Tzu Chi Foundation stepped in last year to rebuild it. It was completed in June this year and is in time for the graduation ceremony.
I hope all the students will learn the spirit of these Tzu Chi volunteers of giving back to society after you grow up.
The graduates embrace their teachers and also give them flowers. The teachers also give them best wishes as they start a new chapter of their lives.
The Long-Term Care Act 2.0 seems to be well planned, but some people wonder if it's really as convenient as the government had planned. In fact, with the aging population, the plan is experiencing many challenges. It not only encounters staffing problems, but also those receiving the care may not be so grateful. Furthermore, funding for the plan largely comes from tobacco and estate tax, which may not be stable. Let's look at some of the problems faced by the plan.
Aho诶，你拄仔有算无？有哦，算几届？有3届无？可能有吼，搁较济。无啦。无哦。互我一支赞，来。赞。你的大镜头出来。赞。赞。好，安尼好。
This spacious and bright venue has many elders who are suffering from sundown syndrome, which leads them clamoring to return home. This is one of the requirements for admission into a Type A care center, with patients here experiencing different levels of dementia participating in these activities. Type A care centers get $167,000 in subsidies each year. This not only covers daycare centers, but other types of diverse support, such as Japan's use of small-scale, multifunctional homes for short stays.
We transform into small-scale multi-use facility where some of the elders that we're well acquainted with can spend a night in this type of environment.
The Long-Term Care Act 2.0 stressed that medical systems should complement one another. The Ministry of Health and Welfare's Tainan Hospital is the only Type B care center in the city, and 3 days a week must have an occupational therapist servicing these elders.
This type of arrangement actually allows us to make some progress and delay the onset of dementia.
Actually, bringing this about means there are many difficulties that need to be overcome. Of course, there's a need for social welfare units and related resources to work together.
Now we have been extended this pilot program to 20 different municipalities with Type A care centers along with several Type B centers and even many trial operations of Type C centers.
From the beginning, municipalities competed for funding from the 2.0 Act, as each wanted to be part of the integrated care model. Nationally, there are 368 administrative regions, cities accounting for 170 and counties having 198. This created a need to create 368 Type A care centers, with each one costing $167,000, along with 956 Type B centers and 2,529 Type C centers, for a total cost of $229 million.
We hope that after establishing this industry and paying for it, much like national health insurance, we can set up scope of services and what they cost and how they paid for.
After the Long-Term Care Act 2.0 took effect, its adoption has been slower than expected. Currently, the capital of Type A has only one Type A care center located in the Wanhua district. Presently, nationally, there are just 17 Type A centers, with 44 Type B centers and 86 Type C stations. Funding only arrived in March, with all other expenses, including the pilot period in January and February of this year, were covered by local governments.
A small organization, if it needs to operate on its own, funding to operate a lane or alley-type care station, which provides meals, health promotion, and daycare service, might experience quite a lot of difficulty.
Actually, funding for this act is part of a larger whole, with 2.0 also incorporating those suffering from dementia under the age of 49, and those 50 and above with slight mental handicaps, and Plains Indigenous people over 55 with disabilities, with funding of $329 million. Also, there are courses for those with dementia and more interaction with families, along with other services, with $85.3 million in funding. In the first year, the government set aside $918 million as a fund, which seemed like enough, but future funds depend upon estate and tobacco tax. If more budget is needed in the future, some fear that this funding source may simply be unstable and insufficient.
When we choose this funding source, we have to decide if this type of funding is fair, and if it can grow in the future, and is this sustainable, and is this fair to the next generation.
In the long term, is this funding sufficient? I think that from our economic analysis, we may need to put more money in from different sources.
Additionally, services are only available from Monday to Friday, with Saturday and Sunday still becoming a problem for many families. If the Long-Term Care Act 2.0 doesn't offer enough service, then many will contemplate hiring foreign caregivers.
Taiwan is highly dependent on foreign caregivers. Actually, the number of foreign caregivers in Taiwan is actually higher than the number of elders who need care.
Taiwan has the resources and the opportunity for many to enjoy their old age. However, now many may feel uneasy about this, with the government working hard to put out some services and choices, though unfortunately, many have no choice but to still look after themselves in this area.
At the end of our program, we take you to a Ami Dao exhibition that displays the traditional clothes worn by the Amis people in Taiwan. The exhibitor hopes that through these beautiful clothes worn by the Daos, people can better understand the Ami tradition. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.